And just like that, Kaguya-sama Season 2 has come to a close. Sadly, we did not get a Season 3 announcement at the end of this episode, but judging by just how popular Kaguya-sama has been, and just the reaction to this season, I'm willing to bet we're one day gonna get a Season 3. Probably one of the major reasons why it hasn't been announced yet is probably because, one, with the whole year of how it's been, with series delayed back-to-back, kind of makes it a little bit uncertain on when things could potentially come out, so it kind of makes sense. Like, if they announced it right now, people would be expecting it to say, like, come out, like, next year around maybe, let's say, winter of anime, and then they have to delay it because, you know, everything going on in the world, so it all makes sense why they didn't announce it, but I'm willing to bet you before, you know, next year or so, we'll probably have an announcement for a Season 3. But okay, so let's get right into it. That final part of the episode was a nice callback to the opening song of the first season. I was a big fan of just the way it presented itself, the explosion, and just also how, like, the credits started playing. Just everything about that final sequence of the episode for this final episode of Season 2 was absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like the series went out with a bang. That's really what it was. And I can't help but just really be impressed with just the amount of quality, effort, and passion that has been put into Kaguya. I know I've talked about it plenty, and I know at this point in time you're probably tired of me saying it, but it really just needs to be said. Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 2 has truly been a tremendous feat, especially in just how difficult these times are now for animators and stuff. It's great just to see the anime doing so well, and the quality that's put in, the extra effort, and I mean, to go a step further to really show their effort, I didn't even notice it myself, it was pointed out to me on Twitter, but there is a scene to where Kaguya, when she loses the light, and you can see in her eyes they grow dim, this was very obvious to catch, but apparently her hair was actually droopy in a certain scene, and then as soon as she got life back, her hair, her hair went straight back up again, and it kind of showed a little bit more about her character, the state of mind she was in, and it's just these little details that really go to show how much the animators really care about the series. Apparently that was in the manga, and most of the time when anime is adapted from manga, it kind of loses those little details, those little behind-the-scenes quirks, and I'm just glad to see stuff like that has definitely made it into the final product that is the anime. So I don't know, since the start of Season 2, like Episode 1 to where we're at now, it's been just a constant going uphill of quality. Like, it's been non-stop quality episode after quality episode. I mean, I've talked about it consistently with how every single episode of this season was my favorite. And then more episodes came out and I was like, this is my favorite, this is my favorite, this is my favorite. And just, like, it was non-stop. And the reason for it is, as I said, this is a quality season. There's been just so much, like, character growth. There's been really different forms of comedy that we haven't seen. Beautiful art animation, flexing. There's just so much here to really enjoy. And I can't express enough. If you are somehow watching this video and you have never watched Kaguya, I really can't help but say, go watch this. This is 100% a series that is worth watching for 2020, and it's one of the best series in recent times. It's really good. I'm just so glad the series is very popular, and it tries to subvert itself and, use cliches, but go a different way about it, and also be very meta. There's so many things that you can really just take and appreciate just from this episode alone, but not just the entire series, but this episode. The beginning sequence, or the first half of the episode, is about Kaguya kind of reminiscing, thinking about her past, thinking about the memories she's created throughout the journey of Season 1 and Season 2 when it comes to, the pictures she's taken. And she has a flip phone, and this is actually very relatable for me. As someone that recently upgraded to a smartphone about maybe a year and a half ago or less, it's very relatable to me to see Kaguya having to upgrade to a flip phone, because I understand. I understand why she didn't. It's like, you never really think you would need a flip phone, but when you see kind of what happened within this episode, it all kind of comes full circle and you realize why it's incredibly important. I mean, number one, you have more security with your pictures, and you're able to connect easily with people and gain other memories and stuff between individuals because of just how phones work nowadays. But with flip phones, it was very hard, and you could easily lose your data. It was very, very easy just to lose all of your pictures, and like that, just one mistake. Drop your phone in the water, there it goes. But nowadays, if you drop your smartphone in water, at the very least, your pictures are still stored somewhere on a cloud, or, maybe it's on a group chat, whatever, stuff like that stored. And I really like just how relatable that section was for me. Just seeing Kaguya kind of reminiscing of him getting a smartphone. And I'm just like, back in the past, it was similar, too. I didn't really take a lot of pictures. But ever since, I guess recent times of getting my smartphone, I've kind of started to document things. I've started to, take pictures, reminisce about things. I don't know. Maybe it's because, I'm finally getting with the times. Maybe I finally realized what makes smartphones so good. But I don't know. I just think that first half was really nice. But then elaborating on why Kaguya was sad makes a lot of sense. Because she tries to act like she doesn't care, but she really wants to take pictures and cherish the time she has. She enjoys her group of friends. She enjoys every waking moment she spends with them, and she cherishes it. She wants to be able to look back maybe 50 years from now and actually see those pictures, be like, this was my life, this was my group of friends, I loved them, they loved me, and I'm glad to be able to be with them. The way everything was and how it's presented, I just think that is very realistic, and I understand why Kaguya would be sad. If you have all these pictures, these precious memories and all that, and, you lose the pictures and there's no way to ever get them back, it's kind of like a piece of yourself is lost, because that's like a part of time you've taken a picture of and frozen in place, and you can always look back at it and remember that with fond memories. And if you lose those pictures, maybe one day the memories of those events will slowly fade within your mind. It's kind of sad really to think about, but that's something that happens, and why people like to take pictures is to really have them to remember. If they ever need to remember certain things, they have them. But okay, with that, though, I'm really happy, though, Kaguya joined the group chat. That was definitely something that needed, and I'm glad to see, Shirogane go out of his way to really try to get Kaguya in a group chat, get them all together to be able to send pictures, and before everything was said and done, Kaguya got more pictures than she actually started with, and she was happy. She had life brought back into her eyes, her facial expression, everything about it. It was just truly beautiful to see, and I'm happy for Kaguya. I mean, because the way the series started, when we found out that she's someone that was very cold, she was someone that didn't really interact with people a lot, but now seeing how she is, she's just grown and developed so much since she, has joined this school and has met Shirogane and everyone else a part of the student council. So let's talk about the second half. So the second half of this episode is absolutely amazing, because it goes its own way of being very meta. And to kind of explain, you have a scene to where Ishigami, he's like, I no longer fear anything. And you just see this entire sequence that shows all his character development, everything he got from the last arc. And you just see, this entire, Bazazzy scene just showcasing him. He's like, I no longer fear anything. I have matured. I have grown. I can look everything straight in the face. And as this character development's kind of being reintroduced to you to remind you and all that if you've forgotten, all of a sudden when he sees the balloon, he gets scared and he runs away. And then the narrator's like, oh, I guess the sports festival was completely useless. The character development and all that, it didn't matter. It was worthless in the end. And I'm just like, that's extremely meta. And it's very realistic, too. And let me explain. I know everybody likes character development. Everybody likes seeing characters grow. I know I do. I love that. That is something I'm absolutely a fan of in stories. It's why I think many of us watch stories. But there is many characters that overcome something very depressing or sad in their life, and then they never reflect about. They never show a moment of weakness to kind of revert back to the way they were. Now, I know the reason why this normally doesn't happen is because obviously it's character regression, and most of the time writers don't do it properly. But in this case, this was kind of playing on that joke of characters overcoming something very sad in their past and then never being able to be like that ever again. They never show any moment of weakness ever again, and I think that's very unrealistic, because honestly, if you go through something in your life, even if you get help for it and let's say you kind of overcome it somewhat, you're never going to fully recover, at least right off the bat, because what happened to Ishigami is so drastic in his life, and he just now kind of slightly overcame it. If he was to never reflect on it and kind of slightly regress, then honestly, it wouldn't be realistic. And I do like how this episode did that. The realistic nature of how sometimes, even if you have grown past it, you might regress just a tiny bit because that fear kind of eats away at your mind a little bit, and that's what happened. I don't know. I like those little details, and not a lot of writers can really do that, and this episode was kind of poking fun at that with Ishigami. All the development, everything, and, here it is. He still has it, it just, he also has those moments of weakness, too. Which, by the way, speaking of characters, let's talk about Shirogane. I like how Shirogane was thinking about the words of wisdom from his father, and after he listens to all these words of wisdom, he decides to back out. He's like, go! You got it, Kaguya! You got it! And she has to go pump the balloon, and just I love it too. It's just the way it is. It's like self-preservation. It's also very realistic. I just couldn't help but laugh, honestly. Just the way that entire sequence was absolutely hilarious. And I just gotta say that one of the best parts of that, though, was definitely seeing poor Miko pumping the balloon, and all the characters, they call Fujiwara scum. Like, she's absolutely scum doing what she's doing to Miko, kind of encouraging her to continuously pump the balloon, but then everybody else starts cheering and helping out Miko, like, Miko, you got this, you got this, you got this, and poor Miko has to just, you know, keep pumping, and I'm just like, I feel so bad for her. I couldn't help but honestly just get so sad for her because she was so scared. It was adorable, but it was like she was so scared. I'm just like, oh man, poor her. Like, she's just literally being kind of mistreated by Fujiwara, and I'm just like, wow, that's just, yeah, Fujiwara definitely manipulating Miko in her own way. But okay, though, overall, I would say that Kaguya-sama Love is War has been fantastic from start to finish. It's been a better season than Season 1. I mean, Season 1 is great. Like, I love that season. It's the reason why I'm here reviewing Season 2. But Season 2 has really been a step up in the right direction for the story, and it's kind of rare to look back at shows like anime and say, like, Season 2 is better than Season 1. Like, not often does that happen. It's not often I can legitimately say a Season 2 or a Season 3 is better than the Season 1. Because most of the time, Season 1s are like the best, and then Season 2 and 3 kind of slowly dwindle in quality, unless it's a very long series, let's say like One Piece with the Marineford arc, etc. But, I mean, if you're talking about like a series that only airs like 12, maybe 24 episodes, and then comes back maybe a year or two later, you know, you don't expect like that type of quality, like just to come back and be even better than the previous season. Just somehow Kaguya-sama did it, and it did it, and it worked out great for it because everybody loves this series. But I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. I'm going to miss this series, and I think many can agree with me, we will miss this series. But when news comes out and Season 3 is eventually announced, you'll hear from me. I'll make sure to let you all know if I find out anything. But for now, I'll leave it at that. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching my videos for this series. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 2. And with that, I love you guys. Be safe. Stay healthy. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you got this video, please leave a like. And with that, Chibi out.